Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the Bowler Graveyard version 2. This deck has kind of evolved since I made a video a while back, and I figured I would make a updated version. So I will say, before the Electro Wizard came out, I was using archers in place of the Electro Wizard, but with because double graveyard count is really strong with graveyard being so meta right now. But with Electro Wizard coming in with like a second zap, and then hitting two people at once. He's not like an absolute counter to graveyard, but he does work really well as a counter. And he also works as a fireball bait in the same way that archers used to. And I would say he's actually better on offense. And he pairs really well with graveyard with his reset mechanic. So I'm gonna say he may be a mainstay in this deck, but the only change I would make if he isn't would be to switch him out with archers. But I'm actually really liking him, so I'll have to do some more testing. But these replays are shown from the Electro Wizard challenge, so of course I'll be using him. And this is pretty much the complete deck. There's no big change, even if you were to put in archers. So the overall the game, how this deck plays is you defend first, and then like always you turn those defending units that survive into a counter push with graveyard. And then you can also do some small ice golem graveyard pushes if they play a tank at the back. Remember not to rush with elite barbs. Always defend with them first, and then turn into a counter push. Like and then after they defend, you can throw graveyard, and then fireball their counters on graveyard and whatnot. So, and then bowler's just a really good defensive card that you can start from the back once your tower gets low. So let's get right into the replays. What's the minor deck is the one I'm going to start with. Here it is. I'm going to show 3 replays, each one of a different deck style. Oh, starting off with a BM. So, the one thing with this deck, it doesn't have fantastic starting hands, but it's okay. So I start off with a bowler from the back. I'm going to let that Electro Wizard run in. He fails the Ice Golem in front. I play my own Electro Wizard. I take no damage whatsoever. That's a positive to Elixir trade, obviously. And then so what I did here is I knew he was going to counter the bowler with something, so I decided to, instead of playing the graveyard along with the bowler, I decided to trick him and quickly throw down the graveyard on the left side along with Electro Wiz, and I just got tons of damage there. That's something you can do often in this deck, is when you have 2 pushes going on both sides, you can... the weaker push, or the seemingly weaker push will that he may just let die to tower. Instead of letting it die to tower, you can quickly use graveyard on that lane instead of going with the stronger side, and then he'll over defend the other side. Like, he wasted 6 elixir, so he wasn't able to defend very effectively. And there, I throw down the Ice Golem to knock back the Electro Wizard so I don't take any more additional damage. And then, of course, I've got the bowler going. And here I just throw down my Electro Wizard because I want to take out the Mega Minion. I don't really need to. Okay, so and I made him use Fireball, so that's fine. Minions would have been preferred there, but I didn't have them in hand. And now I'm just kind of pressuring, trying to. I've pretty much already won this game. I just have to defend well and make sure he can't take my tower, because his tower is as good as dead after that one big push. So just I got a 2 elixir advantage out of that. Just pushing, not overcommitting. Don't waste a ton of elixir trying to take his tower, but defend well, waste his time by making him defend on the opposite lane. And then, of course, I'm just going to do Ice Golem and then bowler at the back. That was an accident. That bowler was supposed to be on the right side, I remember that, yeah. But he fireballs it for whatever reason. I don't know why. Even if that was an Electro Wizard, he needs to be using that fireball on offense right now if he wants to win. But, so yeah, just kind of biding my time. Putting down Ice Golems and bowlers defensively. I can pretty much fireball his tower whenever I want, so I'm not too worried about that. I don't know what that fireball was. I guess he was kind of panic defending. But yeah, at this point, he got that one little bit of elite barb early on, but I had a really good push, and that's the main reason I wanted to show this replay, to show the threat of the graveyard. And then, yeah, he should have been trying to push earlier on. I think I actually started reading chat at that point. That's why my encounter was so late. But yeah, so that's a minor deck. Let's get to the next one. Bowler Graveyard. So this is almost a mirror. I think it is a mirror match, except he has Mega Minion and I have minions. And I think I'm favored in this matchup because minions are a very good graveyard counter, and Mega Minion isn't as good a graveyard counter. So he starts off with Electro Wizard at the back, which isn't a terrible play.
Alright, thank you.
So right here I throw on minions and then probably like Electro Wizard or something. Yeah. I'm kind of putting up at the top because I don't want him to fireball my tower. And then I'll take these surviving units and turn them into a counter push. He had a good fireball there. Very good fireball. I may have been a little bit greedy here. I didn't have too much surviving, so I don't know if that was the best graveyard. I got a decent amount of damage though. So, not the end of the world. He is going to be up like 3 elixir though, because I'm going to have to counter his bowler with my own bowler. I knew I had minions up next in rotation, and I knew this early in the game he wasn't going to be able to fireball because you just don't have enough elixir built up before double elixir with all the troops he had just placed down. And it was also, I don't think it was in his rotation yet because he had used it earlier. So knowing that his bowler was out of hand, and knowing that his he didn't have enough elixir, he didn't have quite enough elixir to quickly use elite barbs, especially when I had my own bowler coming in. Even if he had used elite barbs, I could have just fireballed him, and my bowler plus my elite barbs would have won the battle. So I knew that was one of the few good situations where I could rush with elite barbs because I knew it could punish his elixir and punish the fact that he didn't have bowler up. And a majority of my damage came right then, obviously. So graveyard is your main win condition, but every now and then you can use elite barbs. Like in this situation, he shouldn't have used elite barbs because I have my bowler up. And then the bowler plus the minions will just take care of it. I actually misplayed a little bit there because the bowler should have been a little bit farther to the right so that he would have pulled the second elite barb, but I still defended halfway decent. I wouldn't have taken hardly any damage if I had played a little bit better. Also, I don't like the graveyard plus elite barbs rush because you're unable to fireball, and you usually want to use fireball along with your graveyard because of course that push is too expensive. I knew he was about to play something else in front, so that was a really good fireball. Positive elixir trade. And at this point, I'm rushing the other side because he just wasted fireball, and so he has to defend. And if he's defending, he can't be pushing. That's what I often do when I take a tower. I'll defend, and then I'll quickly rush the opposite lane so that he has to defend it himself. And if he's defending the opposite lane, he's obviously not taking my tower. His fireball will come through, but it won't be enough. And I'll survive with like 500 HP, 400 HP. So that was pretty good. I made some misplays, as I pointed out in that match, but I capitalized on that one push and defended and pressured enough to keep it together. And then for Hog, I don't want to show a Hog game because Bowler plus Elite Barbs are just so good at playing, countering Hog. And then here for the final match, we'll do this Giant. So I've shown Graveyard Control, Miner, and then Giant. So a good mix of every card, of every like deck type. So this bowler was a little bit late. That's why I went ahead and played minions. Also because I wanted the bowler to survive and maybe do some tower damage. If I hadn't played the bowler so late, I wouldn't have had to play the minions. So that was a misplay by me. Unfortunately, I had to let that ice golem die too because I needed to defend here. But so this is what makes Elite Barb so good as opposed to like a Tombstone or a Furnace on defense or an Inferno, because they can turn into an offensive threat. So he gets one hit there, but he also tanked like 6 tower shots, and that allows the skeletons to live longer. And in the long run, I want to say that Elite Barb crossing the bridge probably got me like 400 damage or something, just because he tanked and he got a hit off. Maybe even more than that, because the skeleton damage stacks up. Ice Golem here to counter the musket. And then I'll play... Oh, and so once you figure out which side someone's going to, and that side is weaker, it's a really good play to just play Bowler at the back, because it gives you zone control, and it also builds up a push for Graveyard. Even Fireball trade there, good Fireball for me. Free tower damage, essentially. He's going to play his giant to direct the bowler. And he just unfortunately played that Mega Minion just a little bit too early because my minions were able to lock onto it. He did almost save it with he did kind of save it with the zap, but now I can zap myself. Or, oh yeah, so I just distracted and the tower finished it off. So I defend first the elite barbs, and then I use my own elite barbs behind. I put an ice golem in front, so he has to respond to that. And since my ice golem was in front, even though my elite barbs were damaged, his elite barb pretty much doesn't have any HP left. So start bowling from the back, and here's the push that's going in here to do a push to do some damage. I'll probably like wait. So oh yeah, so I was waiting for him to play a second counter because I knew he would. It's not just musket, and then I'm gonna fireball both of them. So that's a really good value fireball. Take out the wizard and get his musket to like 1 HP, and I was able to zap to finish it off. And then elite barbs, like you get so much chip damage for free. Like that elite barb did like 400 damage by itself, more than that actually, like 600 or something, 500. And that's something that Inferno can't do. For one more elixir, you're taking everything out, and you make them respond to you, or you do tower damage. Like, so it's so superior to Inferno. Of course, the only weakness in taking out Inferno is Lava Hound decks. That's the one matchup that's difficult. But oh, I do have a Lava Hound game here, so I will go to. I'll show a fourth game. The hardest matchup for this deck is obviously Lava Hound. Since I took that out in the Inferno, it gets a little bit harder to play Lava Hound. But I am able to beat it sometimes. I would say the matchup is heavily favored for the Lava Hound player, especially if they're a good Lava Hound player. But like I said, it can be won, and I'll show how in this game. You pretty much just have to take advantage of the fact that it's a beatdown deck and rush the opposite side most times. As you'll see me do here. So he plays Tombstone. I know I don't have to do anything to that, but then he plays Skeleton Army, and I know I can zap that. So, yeah, this is pretty much the way you have to beat Lava Hound, because you don't have great defense against Lava Hound. So when the Lava Hound is played at the back, you have to punish it, because it's 6 elixir, and then the Lava Hound takes 5 years to get the tower. So you punish his 6 missing elixir with a really big, like, elite barb push usually. Graveyard sometimes, but elite barbs are nice because you don't really use them for anything else since he doesn't have many ground troops. And I was actually able to defend pretty well there. He couldn't have done anything else. I will say I don't like arrows and log in the same deck. I would prefer, if I was a Lava Hound player, I would prefer to have Fireball. So that makes his deck a little bit weaker to mine because he's running arrows. I knew, okay, so the reason I played those elite barbs was because I knew he didn't have Tombstone in rotation. And I knew that if I played him, the minions wouldn't get the tower to do chip damage. The only mistake I made was my zap should have had every single skeleton. It was a little bit off. I would have gotten probably like 500 more tower damage if that zap had been better. But so at this point, I'm just trying to defend and waste time. I can't really, unfortunately I took the opposite tower, which I mean you kind of have to do because, so I can't pressure the opposite lane. I have to defend. But I do start going really aggressive here to waste his elixir on defense. It's not, so it's a little bit tough because I am allowing his units to build up for a counter push. But I did enough damage to make it worth it. And then I put down Ice Golem here to finish off the minions, and then I'm going to fireball the pups. I think, oh no, okay, I went Electro Wizard, which is smart. Electro Wizard countered well there, and it finishes off the Mega Minions, so that was good. Fireball, if I'd waited for a fireball, it would have taken longer. So here, I'm just going to keep on pressuring and using Bowler in the middle, because it's useless for anything else. I'm going to use Bowler in the middle. So at this point, I'm kind of expecting him to take the tower, but that's okay, because I've done enough damage to take his second tower. Honestly, if I'd really wanted to, I probably could have defended. So I'm just getting rid of the Mega Minion there, so he doesn't have the threat of 3 crowning, because his pups aren't going to be enough. And then all I have to do is defend the left side, because he's not going to 3 crown there. He doesn't have enough surviving units. So I'm just kind of throwing down stuff as a distraction, and then I'm going to fireball to end the game. So I wouldn't say it's a favored matchup, but you can beat Lava Hound if you have the right cards and counter at the beginning of the match. You kind of have to get a tower early on. If you don't, you're kind of screwed, because once it gets to double elixir, it's tough for you to defend. But I will say, against anything other than Lava Hound, this deck matches up amazingly. Like it does really well against every single tank. It beats Golem because Elite Barbs can either rush the opposite side, or no, I'd say the ideal rush against Golem would be Ice Golem plus Graveyard and then Elite Barbs to defend. And Elite Barbs just shred every tank, and especially with Electro Wizard, people being able to stop Infernos with him and having Zap as well. I just don't think Inferno is worth it, and it doesn't counter push like Elite Barb. So Elite Barb just OP at stopping every tank. This deck is really good against Graveyard because you have minions and the Electro Wiz. So it's amazing against Hog. Like Hog just gets destroyed by this. So the only thing that matches up well against this deck is Lava Hound. It destroys everything else. So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the deck, and I hope you're able to use it to win Electro Wizard challenges like I have. I've won 4 in total with this deck, and then I won 2 with my other deck, which is a 3 Musket deck. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you guys next video.